The honourable member for South Okanagan, West Kootenay.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank my colleague from Saanich Gulf Islands for that speech. It was something we really needed here, I think, and I wanted to pick up on her comments around stranded assets. She talked eloquently about the environmental risk we're facing in this crisis, but there's also an economic crisis facing Canada coming at us like a freight train, and that's those stranded assets. And Jeremy Rifkin, who was the keynote speaker of the Generation Energy meetings in Winnipeg a couple of years ago, one of the world's most respected energy economists, has come out recently with predictions that there will be widespread stranded assets in the fossil fuel industry, not in 20 years, not in 10 years, but in 8 years, 2028, and that Canada would be one of the most severely affected countries in the world for these stranded assets, and why that really speaks to the desperate need we have for this just transition, for a Green New Deal.
For Saanich Gulf Islands.
Thank my friend from South Okanagan, West Kootenay, who I think there are a handful of people in this House that I know have actually read and understood the IPCC 1.5 report. And as a scientist, I know he's one of them. So if anybody else wants to learn more, I recommend my friend. Look, the stranded assets issue, unburnable carbon, is huge. The world of climate finance is gaining ground as people like Mark Carney, who's now been named by the UN Secretary General as a special envoy on climate finance around the world. But another source, again, not someone that one associates with eco action, but Jeff Rubin, former chief economist with CIBC World Markets, has said the same thing as Jeremy Rifkin from the U.S. Jeffrey Rubin has said, look, when the stranded assets start emerging, when we have to see slashing of fossil fuel dependency, one of the first sectors and one of the first regions of fossil fuel production to close down and be left with bankruptcies is going to be the oil sands. So we need to protect fossil fuel workers from us investing in a non-future for them. We have to invest in a real future for them, for their jobs, for their kids, and again, for a hospitable climate to support us all through to the end of this century. It's still a gamble whether we can pull it off or not. But if we pretend to be grief-stricken by a sensible decision to stop Teck Frontier, we've got a long way to go to get to real climate action.
Questions and comments?